Kim Kardashian settles divorce with Kanye West and gets $200,000 per month in child support. So Kim K and Kanye West finalized their divorce on Monday. Page 6 can confirm. The Skims founder, 42, and Yeezy CEO, 45, will have joint custody with equal access to their four children: North 9, Saint 6, Chicago 4, and Psalm 3. Per court docs obtained by page 6. However, sources close to Kardashian told TMZ that the matriarch will continue to have the kids 80% of the time, as West previously admitted in September. The settlement also notes that the Gold Digger rapper will have to pay his ex-wife $200,000 a month in child support. He is also responsible for 50% of the children's educational expenses, such as their tuition and security expenses. If Kardashian and West ever have a dispute regarding any one of their four kids, they are required to attend mediation per the settlement. However, if either party fails to attend mediation, the participating party becomes the decision maker. Additionally, property assets were divided in alignment with the former couple's prenuptial agreement, and they both waived spousal support. A rep for Kardashian did not immediately return Page Six's request for comment on the latest update regarding her divorce case, and the Kardashian star filed for divorce in February 2021 after 7 years of marriage. And following months of several failed public attempts on West's part to win his former wife back, a judge declared the fashion designer, in keeping up with the Kardashians' alum, legally single in March 2022. Interesting. So $50K a month for each child, that's $2.4 million a year. Hilarious. Isn't she worth a few billion herself? While it's an outrageous amount, he can always go back to court to lower it as his fortunes dwindle as a result of his rants. Well, what do we care? How come Giselle and Pretty Boy Brady got their divorce filed and done in one day? Crazy. That's because they didn't really dislike one another. It was just like a simple, clean cut divorce. That amount of alimony, child support, plus education expenses is absolutely obscene and abusive. Okay, interesting. Well, here's the thing. This is something to really think about. The reason why this child support is so high is because of the quality of life that both Kanye and Kim Kardashian gave to their kids, right? For example, even if you were making like a lot of money, but if the normal living situation was like a middle class living situation type of stuff, like a suburb, like a normal suburb, normal car, like normal public school, that sort of stuff, the child support wouldn't be this high even if you were making a lot of money, right? Because when it comes down to like child support and when it comes down to like spousal support, it really all, I guess, massively depend on what was the quality of life for the majority of the life of these individuals, right? So, for example, if you're a billionaire and you basically married like some no name from the street, and you basically got her like lifestyle to that of like a billionaire's lifestyle, you're going to be paying millions of dollars in spousal support every single month if you were to get divorced without a prenup. And even with a prenup, you still might have to actually deal with that. Same thing with like the child support thing, right? If you raise your kids as if they have pretty much unlimited funds and that they could pretty much go anywhere, do anything, live anywhere, right? Go to some of the most prestigious schools, spend thousands and thousands of dollars every single day on just clothing and jewelry and going out. Guess what? That's the norm, and you're going to be basically forced to pay that. It's something to really like think about. So, I completely understand the $200,000 per month child support payment. I think it's still ridiculous, but they can really only blame themselves, right? Like if Kanye wanted to spend less money per month on child support, then he should have basically allowed his kids to live a normal in quotes life. Let's see. So why is he paying anything for child support? She definitely doesn't need the money. These courts are out of control. She wants 80% of care. Then she can pay 80% and he pays 20% and decides what the 20% goes towards. I see the need with families just getting by, but in these situations, split assets based on contribution and move on. So that's not how child support works. He's the father. He has both a legal and moral obligation to support his children. Generally, in a case like this, the sum is based in large part on his ability to pay and relevant expenses. Don't forget, they had a prenup. The judge used a formula, not published, to determine if the demands were lawful and reasonable considering both parents are far from being without financial means. $200,000 a month is affordable based on the combined income of both parents. As crazy as it sounds to us, it works for them. The rich have different rules than us commonplace working folks. Their problem is they make so much money they have to spend and justify expenditures to keep from getting fleeced by the tax system. They're now going to be challenged with rearing youngsters who are entitled. I remember when Paul Newman's son died. So many young people with everything are gone because having it all does not satisfy the soul. Riches can be a curse. So understood, but did the prenup account for the financial shifts post marriage? Probably not. This is where common sense prevails, or at least should. A lot of this can be attributed to vindication, which should not be part of it. Just goes to show how rigged the divorce court system is in the supposedly highly misogynistic and chauvinistic US. What kid needs 50K per month to live on, especially when the mother is as wealthy as Kim is? How about divorce courts rule in terms of reasonable expenses rather than as a percentage of income? The problem with this, right, is that what is reasonable expenses? You gotta keep in mind, due to the massive celebrity status of all these individuals, the amount that they're actually probably paying for security alone per month is probably $100,000, right? And that might just be for the kids, right? So that's half of that 200,000 gone right there. Then you also got to factor in the tuition costs that they're probably spending for schooling, training, whatever. That could also be another 50 grand per month, right? Then you got $50,000 left. That might just be their lifestyle expenses average per month, right? And again, like you can't view it the same way like a normal person's situation, right? Because they don't live a normal person's life. Like they don't go to work, then come back home, and they're basically like multi-year pre-owned car or something, right? They aren't living potentially paycheck to paycheck. They aren't in a situation where they're trying to scrounge up like pennies or quarters anywhere that they can to maybe pay a bill or a food bill that they might get at like some fast food place, right? Like they're not stressing about their electricity bill, they're not stressing about their internet bill, right? They're spending thousands upon thousands of percent higher than the average person is on just everyday things, right? Like they would probably be spending like 20 bucks per bottle of water. Like that's how crazy their lifestyle probably is. But feel free to give your thoughts on this. Like, really, the main thing that people need to understand, everything in life in terms of like personal finance is like ratio, right? So if you spend like 20% of what you make per year, regardless of what you make per year, it's always going to be 20%. Well, it comes to the point where let's say that you're making like $1 million a year. 20% of $1 million is $200,000 of you spending per year, right? You can see how that like ratio really adds up. So like let's say that you're making 100 million in a single year. That's a $20 million expense, like expenses, if you were to just keep with the 20% ratio per year, like, which is a crazy amount of money. But some people will keep on spending like that. Now, personally, I would probably decrease that ratio in terms of like I'd basically spend less money as more money I make in terms of like in comparison to my actual income. So like let's say that, who knows, in the future I make 200 grand per year, right? I maybe will spend 40K out of that 200K, right? In terms of just like wanting to spend that money, right? If I were to make $400,000 the next year, I might bump that up to 50,000 per year, and just basically like expenses that just I want to spend like for basically no reason, right? If I were to make $1 million, I might bump that up to maybe 70 or 80,000 that year, right? So it's just something to keep in mind, right? Because it starts to get to a point where it's kind of ridiculous, but some people don't really change that ratio and they keep spending that 20%, and it just gets into like disgusting numbers, right? Like imagine spending $200,000 a month just to live, like your normal everyday month. Like that's crazy.